We're married, of course. So,
Oh, and who was we introduced?
when somebody asked me what made you go to the Philippines, and the number one answer, I mean, there's certain things that might shock the average Westerner.
Hello and welcome back to Living Abroad. My name is Alex, and in this video we're going to talk to Eric. Now Eric is a retired Marine in the Philippines, married to a Filipina. So let's go talk to him. But before we do that, guys, if this is your first time to the channel, or you've been watching my videos but haven't had a chance to subscribe, hit the subscribe button. It really helps me grow this channel and continue making videos like this. Now let's go ahead and talk to Eric. Hi, what's your name?
My name's Eric.
Eric, where are you from?
Originally, I'm from Minnesota, United States.
Oh, excellent. And what brings you to the Philippines?
Well, I used to come here when I was in the Marine Corps. I'm a retired Marine, and I used to come into Subic Bay during the 80s.
Okay.
And I took a long recess. I hadn't come back to this country for many years. But however, I did live in Okinawa, and I made various trips to Korea and whatnot. But I didn't actually come back to the Philippines until 2018.
Okay.
And previous to that, the last time I was here was 1988. So we're talking a pretty long time.
So tell me, has a lot changed since 1988? It must have been, right? It's been like 4 years.
Quite a bit,
almost.
yeah. Oh, yeah. Yeah, I mean, the only thing I can really gauge it by is what I saw because the only areas I was really exposed to in the 80s is the Subic Bay area, Longapo City and whatnot.
Okay.
At the old Subic Naval Base.
I see.
So when I came back and as I got moving around different provinces and different areas, I saw that there was quite a bit of changes since I had been here last in the middle late 80s. So
Okay, perfect. Very good. Nice to have you. So tell me, what has been some of your favorite things about the Philippines these days? So what's your favorite things about
the people? Number one, the people. The people are fantastic.
Yeah.
They really are. When somebody asked me, what made you go to the Philippines and want to live there and want to stay there, most importantly, and the number one answer always is the people.
Yeah.
No matter what. And not to mention of course, it's no secret that the economy is good here for us Westerners.
Yeah.
So that helps.
So would you say you have a better standard of living in the Philippines for the money you have compared to the U.S.?
Yes. Oh, yeah, absolutely. I mean, there are sacrifices you have to make living here. And some of them are just those kind of sacrifices that most people take for granted. I'll just use some simple examples. Very simple, very basic. You're not going to go and get yourself a gourmet pizza in the Philippines. I'm sorry, you're just not going to do it. I'm not bashing.
Yeah.
I'm just saying it's a fact.
Just the ingredients, right? Probably takes a lot more.
Yeah,
to get them
exactly.
there, yeah.
I mean, it's just one of those things where they don't have the ingredients to make those type of things that were especially like pizzas and things like that.
Definitely.
And it's primarily because of the cheeses and stuff and the dairy products. We have easy access to that in Canada, United States, because we have a lot of dairy farming going on there, and we get those commodities, whereas here it just doesn't happen, unfortunately.
So tell me, what about the climate? As you can see right now, I'm sweating. So I've had a hard time acclimating to the weather. What about yourself? I don't see a single trickle of sweat on you.
Maybe I haven't drank enough water yet. We'll see.
Okay.
The humidity's pretty high, pretty intense here. But you get used to it. I've been here. I've been here now. This time I've been here just over 2 years. I've got my 13A permanent resident visa. We're married, of course. So.
Oh, and who is we? Introduce us to your wife.
This is my lovely wife, Eden Barnes. We've been married just over 3 years. After we were married in 2019, I returned to the United States for about a year and a half to kind of get things buttoned up there so I could move here permanently. And then I finally made it back over here in July of 2020. Yes, right in the peak of the pandemic and all the craziness that was going on at that time. But I made it in. I had that marriage certificate that I showed immigration, and they just waved me in.
Come on right in. Okay.
Yeah,
so, we mentioned the heat. That's probably one of my only things that I could find a downside to the Philippines. Is there anything else for you that you just say needs improvement, or something a dislike, or something like that?
Downsides? Well, it depends on, if you're here as a tourist, there really are no downsides as far as I'm concerned. But if you're here as an expat living here, you will experience some downsides. I mean, some people mention that the healthcare is not the greatest here. I beg to differ. I think it's kind of hit and miss. I think as you're closer to the city areas, the national capital region, Manila, Makati, probably here in Cebu as well. I'm not from Cebu. We're from Luzon.
Okay.
We're just here on vacation. Sure. But anyways, some people will argue that the healthcare here is not up to par. And I'm talking like expats, people that live here. Especially, you have a lot of expats here that are getting into their retirement age, their moonlighting age, and they're getting a little older, and they're going to require that healthcare. That is going to be very important.
I find that a little bit surprising because there are so many Filipino nurses in Toronto and Canada, as I'm sure you know. You mentioned earlier, so I find that a little surprising.
And that's the thing. They all get educated, and the U.S. and Canada swoops in and grabs them and keeps them. Yep.
Yeah, and I don't know if you guys know, but right now Canada is suffering from a real shortage of nurses and healthcare professionals. It's becoming almost to a point of crisis. So if all you Filipinos, watch out, you might get stolen from Canada, right? Or at least recruited or something. So very interesting. Tell me some other things, like what was the biggest shock factor for you? Was there anything that surprised you coming to the Philippines?
Not really, because I'd been here so many times before. And then plus I lived in the Pacific, not just the Philippines, but in Okinawa, I lived there for 6-7 years, so I've been in and out of the area pretty much all my adult life.
Okay.
So as far as any big shockers, not really. I mean, there's certain things that might shock the average Westerner, but to me, I'm so desensitized towards it, where it doesn't really affect me. Like, for example, the poverty, that can really throw people for a loop if they're not used to it. If they're not prepared for it and they see it, they're like, oh my God, holy crap, whereas me, I just see it, just another day in the neighborhood. It sucks, but it's
something that you...
It's just...
Yeah, I get what you mean, because like where I live right now, same thing. There's a big difference between the different income, like between where I'm staying, for example, in the condo compared to right downstairs from me. It's like really... family with lower income, you can tell, right? So, and if you're not used to that, it might really shock you for sure.
Absolutely.
And tell me a little bit about relationship with a Filipino, because like myself, I haven't had a chance to really date any Filipinos, or Filipinas, I should say. I hear something called tempo. What is that? Is that a real thing?
We had a discussion about that early on in our relationship, and she immediately told me, she goes, I don't do tempo. And I was like, okay, then I guess that's the end
What is that though? Maybe you can tell me what is tempo? What does that mean? I hear that sometimes. What is a tempo?
I don't really know how to describe it.
Yeah.
It's a silent treatment.
Oh, okay.
It's a Filipino silent treatment, from what I've been told. I've never experienced it because, again, she doesn't do tempo.
Okay, you got lucky.
But it's basically when a woman gets angry at her significant other, instead of communicating effectively with that, that other half, and trying to come, to a resolution, they kind of go into their little silent mode.
Just like the cold shoulder almost, right? Okay. Oh,
and they say that can happen for a few minutes, or it can happen for several days, and it's like. But I asked her about that. It's funny that you mentioned that, because I asked her about that early on in our relationship, and she's like, I don't do tempo, and I was like, okay, I won't even mention it.
Great, then you got lucky.
We'll just let that one slide out there.
Just as it's all about the pressure, about the arguments.
Yeah.
That's it.
Okay.
I mean, she does get a little bit quiet when she's upset, but it's not to the point where she's like ignoring me. If I am persistent and I say, hey, come on, let's get this out on the table.
Yeah.
Then she won't. She won't play the tempo thing.
Because if I get angry, I just better keep quiet rather than shouting at you.
You're a smart woman. I think as most men, I think we have temper issues or problems as a man, and then we just need that moment of silence. That's how I am anyways.
Right.
And then afterwards I know I'm in the wrong or something, then everything goes back to normal. Now my last question is, what's your biggest advice for someone that wants to come to the Philippines? What would you say to them, either as a tourist or as like someone that wants to retire here? Do you have any advice?
Yeah, do your research, do your homework, and when you pack to go to the Philippines, pack not only the things you need, but pack your patience, because things don't always work. Things don't always go according to plan here in the Philippines, because this is not the United States. This is not Canada. This is not Australia. This is not the UK or wherever it is you came from. Things are different here, and you gotta be patient, and you gotta understand that. Again, things aren't always going to go your way, and there's nothing you can do to change it, because it's not going to change. That's the way things are here, and that's the way they've been doing business here, or living their.
Yeah.
That's the culture. That's the way they've been doing things here forever, and you're not going to come here and change it.
Yeah.
You know. So
Well, thank
do
you
your
so
research.
much.
Yeah, do your research. Of course, you know, get your health insurance squared away before you come here to live. Yeah, and make sure you're financially ready for it. It's a cheap place to live, but it can also be very expensive depending on how you like to live. If you want to
Okay.
bring your Western habits and your Western lifestyle here with you, it's here for you, but you're
Yeah.
gonna pay for it.
Okay, got you.
So-
Well, thank you so much. Now tell me a little bit about your YouTube channel. You mentioned something. You have a YouTube channel?
Yeah. We're I'm retired gunnery sergeant from the Marine Corps, so gunny, and then she is a chef by trade.
Okay.
So gunny and the chef. That's
Very nice. So definitely, guys,
YouTube.
I'm gonna put his YouTube link in the description down below, guys. Check out his content, and thank you so much for being here. Appreciate it.
Yes, sir. Thank
Awesome.
you.
Thank you. And that was Eric and his wife. So if you want to know more about him, go ahead and check out his YouTube channel. I'm going to go ahead and leave the details and the link in the description down below. Guys, leave your comments and let me know exactly what you think of his story. Anything you want to share, I'd love to hear your thoughts. If you found this video informative, entertaining, or just want to show your support for myself, Alex, at Living Abroad, hit the subscribe button, hit the like button. I'll see you guys in the next video. Bye.